Okay, so the tapping for me personally was a lifesaver. It helped me with my own, my migraines, for example, I had for my whole life since I was a kid. And the tapping was the only thing that gave me relief. I could literally feel the migraine leaving my body when I would tap. It helped me lose 50 pounds. I went through a period of time right before I became a hypnotherapist where I got depressed. It's like, we're all human, right? We all have stuff come up. And I didn't have a tool that would really help me to get rid of this anxiety, this constant anxiety, this constant feeling of I'm on the verge of panicking about something all the time. I have post-traumatic stress syndrome from childhood. I had childhood trauma. I have done everything, every kind of therapy, psychoanalysis. I've done cognitive behavioral therapy. I've done, affirmations till I was blue in the face. Nothing really helped. I just felt like it was like putting ice cream on dog poop because it was still that. It was still all that stuff under there, right? You can't just cover it up and pretend like it's all okay. That's what I'm trying to say. So, I do want to thank. Let's see, Barry, can you come up here? I want to introduce you.
I think he went somewhere on the telephone.
Okay. Well, he just missed his big moment. Alrighty. So, what is tapping? The tapping is where you use your fingertips on the acupressure points, the same acupressure points that you use for acupuncture. It's ancient Chinese medicine, and how it was discovered was by a doctor, a psychologist by the name of Roger Callahan. And this is back in the 70s. He had a patient who had a terrible phobia of water. She couldn't even bathe her daughter without getting completely freaked out. She couldn't even think about water, be around it without getting acute pain in her stomach. And he said, he thought, he studied Chinese medicine. He thought, well, maybe if she taps on the stomach point, and one of the stomach points, he said, was right under the eye here. So he asked her to tap under her eye while she was thinking about her stomach pain. And what happened is that not only did her stomach pain go away, but her water phobia went away. And he became just fascinated with this, and he did all kinds of studies and research, and he developed this whole technique. It was very, very complicated back then. Since then, a man by the name of Gary Craig was one of his students. He happened to be an engineer, and he thought, well, let me think if I can, with my brilliant mind, I can figure a better way to do this, a more concise way, a not so complicated way to do this. So he did. And now we only use 9 points on the face, and I'm going to show you where they are right now. So if you want to model with me when I touch, you can use 2 fingers right on the eyebrow, right where the hair starts. On either side is fine. One or the other, not right in the middle. Scary. But as you see here, good, everybody's doing it. So we will tap here. The next point is outside of the eyebrow, on the bone, right where the hair ends on your eyebrow. Okay, the next point is underneath the eye, right on the cheek, on the fatty point, not like in your eye, but right under your eye. The next point is under the nose. The next point is under the bottom lip. I'll say under the mouth when we go through the exercise. The next point is the collarbone. You can tap with 4 fingers, so you can. It's about 1 finger down from the clavicle, right here.
In the center. Right?
And you put all 4 fingers there. Okay, good. Everybody's got that. And then the other point is under the arm, right where the women wear their bras, right there. And men is just right on about a hand's width under the armpit. And you want to tap with your fingertips, and not like when you're doing it on your face. Don't tap with your fingernails. Just tap with your fingertips. Yeah, like that. And then the last point is on top of the head. Okay, great, perfect, good. You guys got that really well. There's tons and tons of science behind tapping. As more and more being done all the time. Dr. Dawson Church has a tapping research website if you're interested in that kind of stuff. The scientific research that's being done to show all the studies. It's pretty remarkable. And there's more being discovered every day.
Can you give us that website, please?
Yes, it's Dr. Dawson's Church.
Dawson?
DAWSON Church.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you just Google his name, it'll come up. The whole website is all about research and studies with people. Okay, so, alright. So what can we use tapping for? Anything, everything. I mean, I use it. I have fear of public speaking in the old days. I just started, tapping away that fear, and now I'm not afraid to do this. I mean, it used to be crippling. I mean, I had so many experiences, and this is a good example because it's not just nerves or anxiousness, excitement about speaking in public. This is like the biggest fear, of the world. Like everybody is terrified of this, to some degree or another. But I know where it came from. It wasn't just anxiety about talking in public or doing auditions back in the day when I used to act. It was about when I was 5 or 6 years old, and I had a teacher who, when I told her, I was always asked to lead the class and help everybody else read, and for some reason that day I wasn't feeling it. And I walked up to her and I said, "Man, please be excused, I don't feel well, I don't want to do this today." And she took out a big ruler and she hit me with it in front of the class. And I mean, I was so, I remember feeling completely numb and just so humiliated. My face turned bright red, and that got locked in my nervous system. So Gary Craig says that any physical ailment, any kind of phobia, panic attacks, things like that, PTSD is caused by an earlier trauma that wasn't processed out of your body and your mind like a normal memory. It actually gets stuck in the energy system, the chi of the body, and it causes what they call a reversal. The reversal will not get unkinked until you do this work. This is the only work that I know of and acupressure, acupuncture, hypnosis, that deals with reprogramming, getting what it does is when you're tapping on these points, it's sending a signal to the amygdala, a soothing signal to the amygdala to relax. The amygdala is the part of the brain that's responsible for fight or flight, for your perception that you're in danger. And it can be real or not real. It can be, today we don't have saber-toothed tigers chasing us anymore. We have traffic. We have constant bombardment of the news, where we're walking around in the state of fight or flight, primitive mind, survival instincts kicking in constantly. This is why we walk around with so much stress and anxiety. So when we tap on these points and we think about, we tune into the issue, we tune into a target, which we're going to do today. I just, even though I had this fear of public speaking, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I'm afraid I might make a mistake, and people might laugh at me or somebody might hit me with a ruler. I deeply and completely love and accept myself. And I go around and I say, I want to feel safe in my body. I choose to feel safe in my body while I'm speaking in public. I'm safe to speak in public. All of this. You do that, and then you rate it at the beginning, you rate it after you do it, and you just tune in and you say, wow, how do I feel? Well, there's more air for me to breathe now. I can't, my shoulders are not up here. I've stopped sweating, I can swallow now. You were actually going to gauge how we do today. So we can use tapping for anything. I've used it for people who bit their nails for 40 years, or nail biters. and after 4 sessions, they stopped biting their nails. And then a year later, I hear back from them that they haven't bit their nails since. I mean, it may seem like a small thing, but this really hurt this person's self-esteem and his confidence. Hi. So why do we tap on the negative? This is probably going to come up later, a question, but the tapping on the negative, this anxiety, this fear, this, I hate this person, I hate what they did to me, all this stuff, is because, like I said, you don't want to put ice cream on top of you-know-what. You want to first clear out the junk and then put in, the cool thing about tapping and EFT is that you can program the mind for positives as well. So it's not just to clear out the disruption in the energy meridians of your emotions, but it's there to reprogram for what you want to feel instead. Does it make sense so far?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good.
Meg, can I say one thing? One thing you did with me that really worked.
Hi, Jerry. Jerry, say your name so everybody knows you.
I'm Jerry Serpicow. After the tapping session, and then when the main thing after all of that was when you just shook everything out.
Mm-hmm.
After you did the tapping and you just shook everything out that you just did with the tapping. And then that.
Well, tell them what you were going through because.
Well, I still am, but not nearly as bad. I have atrial fibrillation that can't be controlled any longer with shocks or medication. I had heart surgery 60 years ago, so I hate to say I was a child. But it was experimental. But you end up with AFib, which is the atrial fibrillation. So it's very uncomfortable. And I'm in construction, so I work full time. So Meg started doing some tapping. One day I came home and I was so like, oh my God, I was just, the stress, my heart was like, oh, that was horrible. And we sat down and she did a couple of tapping. But I really felt it when she said, shake everything out after we did shake it. And it was almost like an instant. My heart started to be, it came down dramatically immediately.
So you said it was about a 10 when we started. 10 as far as it being the worst feeling. I remember that day. You were just extremely overwhelmed and very stressed and speaking really fast, and it was like sweating almost. Yeah, and your heart was just thumping all over the place. And I said, let's just sit down and tap right now. We just tapped on it. We only did like a couple rounds. And she came all the way down.
Shake it all, and within, we tapped twice. It took 5 minutes, mainly.
Mm-hmm.
And you do, you say what but the heart getting, I want my heart to start getting normal, take the stress away. And then it just, it worked unbelievable. I do it, and I'm about 50% better, that medication can no longer do. And I keep feeling my heart's gonna wear out, it's just beating, constantly. For years, 15 years, it's been regulated. But if you get to my age, things stop working, the medication no longer works.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm in construction business, which is kind of stressful, it's hard business. But the tapping for the AFib has been my savior.
Mm-hmm. She looked at me, she goes, you just saved my life.
And I feel like if it could do that, and that the heart is basically reacting to your walking, your business, your work, your boyfriend, your husband, your kids, school, whatever, your heart relates to it. The mind relates to everything, so.
Thank you for sharing that. Thank you very much.
To me, it's kind of a life-saving thing,
It's like tapping 911.
Yeah.
You can use it for extreme emergencies as well. Children are great with it. I have 2 or 3 children I work with who have terrible fears and phobias, and it just takes them right out of it, and they're fine. They relax. So I need to move on.
That because it's probably something a lot of people don't have, that it can work to that extent to regulate the heartbeat.
Yeah, it's incredible. I've had people tap and have their blood pressure go. They went right to the doctor after the session, and their blood pressure went down 10 points.
I know.
So it's incredible. All right, so this probably is a good place to, thank you, Jerry, a good time to, let's do our first exercise, okay? So what we're going to do is close your eyes, take a deep breath. Okay, good. Now just tune in to something in your life that is